Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Facebook Live edition / YouTube broadcast live of Nevermind the Buy Box. I'm joined this evening by David Breaker. Evening, David. How are you?
Hello, I am very good, thank you. Nice, really excited to be here tonight and have a good old chat. Well, good old Nat with you.
Yeah, good old chat with Nat on Nevermind the Buy Box. Well, for those of you that join us regularly that have seen David before, we normally bring David on to talk about, because you are an Amazon seller, successful Amazon seller, but you are also kind of a mindset and a life coach as well. So sometimes we bring you on, once a quarter, something like that, in order to talk everything about mindset. Because as we know, when it comes to selling on Amazon they are one of the most frustrating companies in the world to work with. And it does require a certain level of mindset and and focus to be able to achieve what you want to achieve with this business. So David's kindly joined us this evening to be able to go through some of the mindset stuff. So whenever you see David, or whenever I mention David, it's generally going to be more of an episode that we concentrate on mindset a little bit more. Of course, we're going to be talking about all things Amazon anyway, of course, but everything we talk about will be related to Amazon and what you can put in place in your business in order to create some more focus and get a different mindset. So I've had a few people that have said hello. By the way, guys, as well, I will also quickly say this. I will say it beforehand. We now stream live on YouTube as well. And I know some of you prefer to watch it on YouTube because you can stream it onto your telly or you can stream it onto a different device. So if you do want to do that, just go to YouTube, search Nevermind the Buy Box, not Nevermind the Buzzcocks, Nevermind the Buy Box. And you should be able to find the live stream on there. And the good thing is I can see most people have filled out their names, so I can see people's names going up. So we'll say a quick hello to everyone. So Jed's joined us, evening. Luke, evening. Matt Cromie's in the house, literally in the house. He's downstairs. And Janet's here. She says, hi, guys. What a nightmare Seller Central has been this week with all the glitches. Absolutely. We're going to touch on that in a moment. Luke says, whoops, caps. Oh, right. Okay. I see what he's put evening in caps, like shouty caps. That's fine. You can shout evening. We're happy with that.
Really excited.
Absolutely. Salvatore says evening. Nikkei says evening. Caitlin says hi. Someone said, right, I'm going to have to log in actually. Because let me see. Some of you, I've got to get the comments up. I don't know what's happened here. There we go. Okay. Because some of you, I can see your names. Some of you are watching on YouTube. Some of you are watching on Facebook. So I'm going to have to find out your name. So John says, howdy. Kirsty's joined us. Hey. It's Vlad that said, hey. Vlad, you haven't logged in on StreamYard. So I can't see it's you saying hello. So if you get a chance, make sure you do it so we can see who has
told off. No,
no, not at all. I like to see who who's asking questions and things like that. It just feels rude if from my point of view, if I don't know who I'm talking to. So Sue says, hey, did I miss Seller Central whilst being on the naughty step? Well, hopefully you won't be on the naughty step for much longer. Well, yeah, Seller Central. I mean, let's dive into it. By the way, so as I said, we'll talk a little bit about Amazon first and what they've been up to this week and a few of the things that have been going on this week. And then we're going to look specifically at goals. We're going to look specifically at goals for Q4. And we're also going to look at a bit of FOMO as well. And that's something that I have been talking to a few people about this week. So I wanted to bring up and dive deep into that a little bit more and go into it. And you'll know exactly what I mean when I talk about it. A bit like FOMO, what on earth is she talking about? But you do know what I mean. So Luke says, can't access StreamYard from here. Oh, but it does say Luke.
That's because he typed actually his name in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
He found a way around it.
Yeah, he found a way around it. Luke was thinking outside the box there. Well done, Luke. I don't think you can do it whilst on broadcast, but whenever the thing goes live in Facebook, whenever the notification goes out, and I think I put it out about 3:00 this week. But now it's turned into the video. I don't think you'll be able to do it. It gives you the link to be able to go in and register through StreamYard at that point. So what I'll do is I'll find the link and I'll put it in the group. So, but I'm not telling anyone off, honestly. I just like to see who's saying hello and who's asking questions. Any questions, please let us know. Actually, I have a point of interest, because I know some of you were going through it. I know Luke and I discussed it last week where we were talking about VAT registration. David and his partner, Richard, have actually just gone through the VAT registration process. So if you do have, Vlad's done it. He's figured it out. Well done, Vlad. There we go. If there are any questions relating to changing and going through and becoming VAT registered, changing from, non-VAT registered into VAT registered, it'd be a good time to ask the questions, because David's very recently been through it. So you've been through the process, you've experienced it and seen exactly everything that you've had to do during that process. So that's definitely worth mentioning. And look at that. Vlad's even put up the comment. He's even put up the link to be able to do it. What would we do without you, Vlad? Thank you very much. Right. So Amazon this week. God, they have been causing mayhem, Amazon this week. They really, really have. We've had issues with the app that have been ongoing. We've had issues with the IPI score. We've had issues with sales not reporting. We've had issues with, just general kind of mayhem. They've been a little bit of, bit of a shambles this week, really. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think, to be fair, it sounds kind of harsh, but I think Amazon are quite regularly
a shambles.
Yeah, well, not they're shambles, but I think everyone watching this now, I'm willing to bet in their career or business as an Amazon seller would have at least once in their career got absolutely so frustrated they wanted to throw their computer out the window because of Amazon's platform, the way it works, things just links not clicking correctly. I mean, let's be honest. Say in comments now, if you've been in a position when you've been doing a shipment, you've been clicking on all the items to add them to inventory, you're 90% done, and something crashes, and then you've got to redo it all again. Yeah, so that's been there. Okay, well, I say been there. It was Richard, who's over there, bless him, who's done it, because I don't do the prepping. But honestly, nothing more frustrating, and it happens. But what do we do about it? That's a really...
Absolutely. And I think it's about kind of balancing. And we've had some issues there. I mean, Luke said, someone else has put 404. I think that's some sort of, you'll probably know better. Is that an error? Is that like a 404 error or something?
Yeah, that's basically like the link is broken. It's destroyed. It's been taken to hell and back, and something's wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. Luke says world leading Amazon. Absolutely. John says nightmare. Everyone said, oh gosh, eBay also crashed today. John, well, we know from Profit Protector Pro. And can I just say, I was so impressed today with Matt and Karen and Holly and the team for Profit Protector Pro, because Profit Protector Pro went down today, and I'm sure the guys won't mention me saying it. At the end of the day, it's one of those things that's completely unavoidable, because the guys at Profit Protector Pro use the AWS server system, which is the best in the world. If any of you watched the congressional hearings recently to do with Jeff Bezos and all the other kind of big tech leaders, Jeff was specifically asked about the AWS, because it is known to be the best in the best in the world. And that actually went down today, which also caused Profit Protector Pro to go down, which also, most of the big companies in the world use this server system because it is actually the best. And within about, I don't know, what was it? 20 minutes?
Hours. Wow, they dealt with it. They instantly were on it and they were letting everyone know what's going on. It's like we know exactly what the problem is. They're dealing with it. We'll get it fixed. So yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, John said they did an excellent job. Ruth says, well done, PPP team. Absolutely. I hope one of them's watching it tonight. I know they're super busy with everything that's gone on today. Poor old Karen and Matt will need like a big glass of wine, I think, with everything that they've gone today. But like literally within the hour, certainly, they had upgraded their other service system and done that. And, you know, just let me say, guys, that would have been done at a personal cost to them. It wouldn't have been something that they could have done for free, because they just want to make sure that obviously the service is continually being provided as much as possible. Obviously, if there's nothing they can do, there's nothing they can do. But I was just so impressed by how quickly they found a solution, how quickly, and you know, I just wanted to add on top of that as well. I imagine it came at a good personal cost to them as well, which they're never going to ask anyone to, you know, pay back or anything like that. It's just part of being a member of a very well-run service, you know. So I just wanted to say, well done, guys, because I thought that was exceptional today in the way that was handled. So John says the internet is broken. They did an excellent job. Absolutely. So
Zoom went down as well.
Everything went down.
Yeah,
everything
Zoom
went down.
Yeah, so I don't think, do you know what I mean? Again, it's like,
yeah, but I expect when Zoom went down, it went down and it wasn't back up again in, you know, kind of 20 minutes. It was like literally, I was just amazed at how quickly they kind of got it sorted. Yes, it probably wasn't as fast. It probably wasn't as quick as it is normally, but there was something in place that was still working, that was kind of keep ticking the guys through until it came back online. But yeah, Matt says Tide Bank went down, eBay went down. It was 100% worldwide today. Just sort of like thinking, at least it went down, it came back up really quickly. And the Amazon service system is what all the major companies use in the world. So there would have been a lot of outage today. And again, just goes to prove, obviously, the guys at PPP, only the best is used there. So Terry says, evening, Terry. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there has been a lot of kind of challenges over the last week. But Janet says, I blame COVID. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you know what? Let's just blame the whole of 2020 on COVID. I think that's the best thing to do. But yes, so I keep monitoring that. I keep really looking at the comments today because I want to keep on top of them as much as possible. Sometimes with so many of you watching, they get a bit out of hand. But keep commenting. That's not easy. Don't not comment. So John says so many of the companies are reliant on Amazon service. Bit worrying. Absolutely. What problem? Already fixed when I found out. PPP team always ahead of the game. There you go. I mean, that's a testament in itself. Absolutely. But yes, one thing that has kind of come to a temporary conclusion today was the dreaded IPI score that kind of played havoc with everyone for the last probably couple of months, 6 weeks, something like that. And I think what happened when it first came out, it kind of we talked about it a lot. We talked about it a lot on here. We talked about it a lot in the Facebook group. Over the last couple of weeks, it was becoming quite obvious, certainly to me, that actually, even if you were going to be restricted, that it wasn't going to be the end of the world. And I've seen that with people posting their scores and storage allowance today. You know, some people were saying, okay, my score was 440, but I still got 500 cubic square feet of storage, which is perfectly acceptable to be able to have like an amazing kind of Q4. But the trouble was, we were kind of, we put all the information, obviously, to let everyone know about the situation. And Amazon themselves were like doom and gloom. If you don't get it sorted, this is going to happen. You're not going to be able to do this and you're not going to be able to do that. But the trouble was, Amazon, they did this very specifically, and they did this very specifically for a reason. And that reason is they don't want their fulfillment centers to be used as storage facilities in Q4. That's essentially what it comes down to. And I think, unfortunately, what happened was it kind of created this like fear within Amazon sellers not going to have a Q4 if they didn't get below the 500 and everything like that. And I think I definitely stopped talking about it once I realized that actually it wasn't going to be the end of the world so much. And I did make posts about it to say, look, don't worry, guys. I think if you're over a certain amount, you're going to be fine. If you're over over 450 or between that kind of happy place, Amazon's happy place, I'm going to call it between 450 and 500, then you should actually be okay. You might not have unlimited storage, but you're going to have storage that is sufficient. And because I think what it was doing, it was kind of fueling this this fear within sellers. And it's why I stopped, like I said, it's why I stopped talking about it so much. But it has come to a temporary conclusion. This is something that's going to happen every quarter, but obviously I think people are more aware of it during Q4. So this is going to come round again, mid-November for Q1 2021. So it's not something that's come to a conclusion. It's just come to a temporary conclusion, because what you receive today is what your score will now be for Q4. So whatever storage limit you receive today, there's nothing more you can do to have an impact on that particular score. Now, what's interesting and also is worth taking into account, so even if you didn't hit the 500, don't worry about it. And I think sometimes people forget that even if you got 200 cubic square feet, which is still quite a lot, it is a rolling amount. So if you sell 50 cubic square feet's worth, you can send in another 50 cubic square feet. As long as you're continually selling stuff, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So how did yours end up? I mean, I don't have to say your score if you don't want to, but were you happy?
I don't mind saying it because it's not really it's not like a
yeah, I know what you mean.
But we ours is 551 at the moment. So we've got unlimited. And it's I understand why Amazon are doing it. Amazon are absolutely doing it because as always, as you say, they don't want to use their space as a storage space. And not only that, Amazon have always pushed forward sales. They always want quick, fast sales. They want stock in, out. Absolutely. Like the biggest impact on our performance score is the FBA in stock rate. Because like a lot of sellers, every now and then we do go through old listings, remove them, and stuff like that. But again, it's always being mindful, as we know returns can go on for years. I think someone the other day said that there was an item that the customer had for like a year and a half that got returned, and it makes it complicated if it suddenly comes back into stock and you don't know what the ASIN is, and it can make it more complicated. But I think absolutely, I think people need to just stop worrying about it. It is what it is. I doubt people are going to use that much cubic usage foot. I mean, ours is apparently, according to Amazon at the moment, because I'm on the page here, we're using 84.75 cubic feet at the moment, apparently.
Yeah.
Now, so if you've got 200, it's going to be okay. And to be honest, again, because we are coming into Q4, pretty much the whole point for Q4 is you're going to buy your stock, get it sent to your fulfillment center, and if you're doing the right buys, the smart buys, it will be gone in a couple of weeks, if that. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Absolutely. And I think also combined with, because we did see, I think, I'm not going to say unprecedented because it sounds like I'm kind of whipping up fear. We did kind of see a level of price dropping, a heightened level of price dropping, because people were very much aware of this. It was in combination with long-term storage came in mid-August as well. So a combination of that, plus a combination of people really worried about this IPI score as well. And it also being the quietest month on, in the traditional Amazon selling calendar. I think with those three combinations, this month's been super frustrating for a lot of Amazon sellers. And I just want to kind of reassure people that this is something that is, three elements that were having a contributing factor. don't normally happen during this time. So it's really, really important to be able to take that into account, kind of start next month. We're almost in next month anyway, which is 1 month before the start of Q4. Kind of start afresh, and we should start seeing slightly improved sales. I think we'll start seeing less price dropping, because sales velocity should start increasing a little bit from here, not dramatically, because the kids are going to be going back to school, and we're obviously going to have some heightened problems in the economy due to being in recession, which we officially are now anyway. So September's going to be an odd month, actually. I don't know what to expect out of September. Normally it's a reasonably good month, but it's not crazy. I think we're going to start seeing, once those kids go back to school and parents are less distracted by their children, I think we're going to start to see good deals, really good deals, start coming from the retailers in September.
Especially so if we look at it from a retailer's perspective, a lot of them are struggling at the moment, as we've seen with Debenhams. A lot of stores are struggling, so they're gonna, and the way they're gonna want to drive customers into store or purchase online, so they're going to be coming out with the deals. I'm just going to answer Janet. I had a question. What stage do you suggest you delete a listing if it is out of stock and no likelihood of replenishing? I would say generally 6 months is a reasonable time frame, but it's really tricky sometimes. So I know that Natalie, for you're a big person of replenishables. There's two types of, obviously, the things that customers replenish, like your toothpaste, stuff like that. But there are replenishables from an Amazon seller perspective, the items that that you can regularly buy. And the thing you've got to factor in is the fact that the deal cycles shift constantly. Boots are like this. They're constantly shifting their deals around. Holland and Barrett. I'm just trying to fit all the other big stores that just constantly shift their deals around. All
the supermarkets too. The deal cycles constantly change. So they might not be a traditional replenishable in the sense, because a traditional replenishable, the way I do it, should be an item that you can purchase at the same price, i.e. the full price, over and over again. Now, but I do also traditionally cast deals that fall within deal cycles. So as David has quite rightly said, what I mean by something like that is knowing when a product is going to go back on an offer at a certain time, because generally what will happen is these type of products go on offer on a regular basis, either with the same retailer or they rotate between different retailers. You see it commonly within supermarkets. You see it commonly between what I always call sister OA companies, Superdrug and Boots. Now, they're not obviously sister companies, but I call them sister OA companies because they sell relatively the same products. They are relatively similar businesses, apart from obviously Superdrug is way more OA friendly than Boots is. They've got both very good loyalty point systems. And what tends to happen is when you've got a product that's on offer on Superdrug, it's rarely on offer on Boots, and vice versa. So when that offer runs out on Superdrug, then it's always worth checking to see if the offer has gone back onto offer with Boots and someone like that, and vice versa. It doesn't mean it automatically goes on to Boots as soon as Superdrug stops, but there's a chance before it goes back on offer in Superdrug, it might go on offer in Boots, because they tend to look at each other's offer, cycles. I'm sure that they've got a full team in each company that are analyzing each other's sales and things like that on a constant thing. And we see that with supermarkets as well, which you'll see more regularly. So if you can get your, I don't know, say for instance, I'm just thinking 2 packs of hot chocolate or something, you're doing a multi-pack, and they're 2 for 1 in Tesco's, then there's a good chance that actually when that offer finishes, they might be 2 for 1 in Asda after that, or they might be 2 for 1 in Morrison's or Sainsbury's or Aldi or, wherever you shop. So it's always worth considering. And this is why it's so super important to make sure that you check on your deals. You go back and you look through not only your buying list, but you go back and actually look through your orders previously from, because your buying list is your buying list, and your buying list is great to go back and look for. But actually, when you really think about it, you want to look at the things that have actually sold. So make sure you're going back and having a look at those orders as well, seeing what's sold, and then also, seeing if you can get that again. Now, I know that Janet's also said, so you would close the listing as opposed to delete once you've gone out of stock.
So we actually delete the listing because I think if you're worried, you can always get the information. You can always create a quick Google sheet and have the information of the item anyway. So if you want to relook at it again later, you've got the data there. Quick and simple, doesn't take much effort. But I would fully delete the listing, to be honest.
Yeah, I delete the listing. I do it with the IPI and everything and potential IP claims. I actually would do it a lot sooner than 6 months, but obviously each people have their own individual kind of thing. For me, it's probably, if I know I'm not going to replenish it, I would probably close the listing and then delete it off within a month, something like that. But make sure you do it in all marketplaces as well, because we always forget with the UK marketplace, we think it's gone, and then poof, the French market, we have, an IP claim, and you think, well, I haven't sold that for 6 months, or I haven't done this, or I haven't done that. It's because the listing hasn't been deleted. But one thing you shouldn't do, guys, and I've been selling on Amazon for a long time, and this is why I always say that no matter how experienced you are, everyone still makes mistakes. Everyone still does certain things. When this IPI came out, I was like, delete, 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 delete. And what I actually did was I went and deleted accidentally listings that I'd created myself for OA bundles and things like that. Now, once you delete them, they're gone forever. You can't get them back. You can't find them at all. And I was just in like robot mode of delete, 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 delete. And then when I went to go and replenish, it was about 4 or 5 of these listings that I would normally replenish and that built up, got reviews, regular sales, really, really good listings that I'd spent time doing my keyword research on and everything. And, they built up a good sales velocity and everything. When I went back and replenished them, I couldn't find them. I couldn't find them for ages, and I was like, but I couldn't work out what I'd done. I was like, well, maybe they're restricted, maybe they've had IP claims and they've gone into restricted, or they've gone stranded, and I just couldn't work it out. And I just mentioned it to Matt, and he went, "You didn't delete them, did you?" I went, "No, of course I didn't delete them." Like that, and I realised I actually deleted them. So that was, I think, in the panic of the whole things. But I don't know. Someone's just said at the bottom, you should be able to find that I can find my out of stock from years ago. Yeah, when you create the listing. So I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. Once you delete it, that's it. I can find out of stock items because no one's gone and deleted the listing, but I've actually deleted the master listing. So yeah. What an idiot. But anyway, that's, it is what it is. Right, let's go back and look at some of these comments because there was a couple of questions that was coming up here. So Sean said he hit 420, but I'm sure you still had a reasonably good storage limit, hopefully. Salvador says, I don't have an IPI score. I've only been selling for a few months. Should I be concerned? No, because you don't get tracked for 28 weeks. So nothing you need to worry about. Just carry on as normal. Amazon kind of give you the benefit of the doubt for your first definite 3 months of selling on Amazon, and then they kind of let you get away with it for the next 3 months, and then after that they will start they'll give you an IP score now, but it won't be impacting. So nothing you need to worry about. Absolutely, Salvador. Just have a great Q4. That's all you need to worry about at this stage. So I'm not sure who said this. Let's have a quick look. Just as my IPI score is currently 480. I removed over 700 ASINs, no longer being used in all marketplace. Took a week of continued focus. Now I have just over 300 ASINs, and my scores continue to drop down. It's a bit stupid, this. Yeah, I completely agree. Whoever said that, it's something. Oh, it was Terry. Yeah, it was something that I think Amazon. I'm not going to say they tricked us into doing it because I don't think that's right either. I think it was just a case of with everything Amazon, I think we've become so focused on terms of service and doing right by Amazon because we don't obviously want to get into a position where our accounts get jeopardized. We just kind of blindly kind of do things. So, it is what it is, unfortunately. But at least, hopefully, the good news is You didn't pay to remove any of those because you took part of the free removals. So David says probably created loads of space from PL sellers. For OA, not much has changed. All sellers seem to have plenty for Q4. Absolutely, and that's really important here because predominantly, believe it or not, this isn't really targeted at OA sellers. It's actually targeted at PL sellers. That's been Amazon's main motivation in getting this out, because if you think about it, they're not worried about 5 Barbie dolls that we send in. They're worried about the 5,000 oversized lawnmowers that someone's going to send in for Q4 that might not sell during Christmas. That's what they're more worried about. But obviously it's a blanket rule and it's impacted on everyone. So Adelia Woken, sorry, I'm not sure if I've pronounced that correctly, says, where can I find my units? But I know Vlad answered that, so I just wanted to check. Yep, they've got that, so that's fine, that's sorted. Charlie says, well, great tip about Superdrug and boots. Nice one. And I think we have answered all of the rest, so I think we're pretty much up to date. Luke says, yes, I created the listing completely and it's deleted and it's still on Amazon. Well, I might have a chat with you about that because mine are gone. And even Seller Central said they are gone and they are RIP'd and they are not coming back. That's what they said. So Terry says, deleting your asing from inventory that you created, then the asing does not exist even as added products by entering the asing. I would have thought it would still exist. You can still find the asing by... No, I have the asing. Normally a way round by finding an out of stock asing is by entering it through the app. Even on the ones that still you can't find and are not showing on Amazon. But in this case, nothing, absolutely nothing. Couldn't find them under, any type of circumstances. So, I butchered your name. Sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really going to have to. I'm so sorry. I promise I will look up how to pronounce it properly after this. Apologies for that. I'm not even going to attempt to say it again. Right. Okay. So let's get started on some other things. So let's talk goals. So firstly, David, this is something that you really specialize in. So tell us why it's important for us to set goals, not just for specific periods in our lives, but, for goals in general, I suppose.
So goals are always important because otherwise you're trying to throw a dart at a dartboard with a blindfold on, spinning around, no idea where you're aiming to get. Goals are always a target of where you're trying to get to. And I've certainly worked with a lot of clients and I've supported a lot of people, and for my own self, I've realized that back with the man that I used to be about 10 years ago, I never set myself goals. And I think certainly in any business, you need to be very specific about what it is you want to achieve from it. Look at what Matt talks about a lot, about the bigger picture here, about the life, and about what is it you want from your business. If it's because you want to be working 70 hours a week on your business, right, okay, in the short term that's fine, but what's a long-term perspective here? What is it you want from your life? You know what I mean? Because as much as it's about Amazon, it is about business, it is also about the fact that we're all human. We all have families, we'll have loved ones, we all have wishes of what we want from it. So look at what a lot of Amazon sellers are now able to do because they've set themselves goals. They've actually been able to achieve what they wanted, which is their business is running itself in the background. Mm-hmm. And I think for a lot of people that don't set goals, they essentially get to a point where they're, and this is quite an important thing, they're reacting, not acting. So every decision they're making, they're having to make on the fly. They're not actually having to proactively think about the process. So I always say to people, actually, look, so this is the end result. You want to get here. Well, okay, break down. So if it's where you want to, what is it you need to do to achieve that? Okay, because people all normally, that being the end goal, they're thinking here, I need to start doing this stuff here. Well, actually, I haven't even fully thought about where I want to get to, and you need to work backwards for it, because otherwise you can't sort of backwards engineer where it is you want to get to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I know reverse engineering goals is incredibly, important. You almost have to, find your deepest, darkest kind of desire, no matter how outrageous it is or how unrealistic it sounds at that point. You have to find your greatest desire in life and set that goal and kind of reverse engineer and work your way back from there, because it's all very well setting these goals and, but unless you have that real true end goal, like you've said, unless you have that destination, then how are you going to get there? It's a bit like filling your car up with petrol, driving around, but not putting that postcode in your sat nav at the end of the day. And then what happens when you just drive around aimlessly? You run out of petrol, so it's costing you money. You run out of petrol, and then you're just getting frustrated because you're not getting to the point in life where you want to get to. And I think it's super important. I think the only other thing that I would add to that, and this is certainly how I feel when I don't have goals, is it just gives this feeling of being completely overwhelmed in business without having this kind of destination to go to. So one thing I want to do actually for tonight, for everyone that's watching, I want you to be truly, truly honest for everyone that's watching today, is in the comments box, I want you to say whether or not you feel that you've set the goals that you want to set for your business and whether you're happy with the goals that you have set for your business. So is this something that you do on a regular basis? Now, appreciate not everyone wants to comment, obviously, but if you feel comfortable in doing it, then just let us know in the comment how many of you have actually sat down and spent some serious time writing down your goals and what's super important for you through your health, wealth, and and all the areas of your development and learning and and everything like that. Let us know in the comments. It'd be really interesting to see. I know on this software sometimes you can do a poll, but that's way too advanced for me to kind of work out. So it'd be good to hear people's thoughts on that. And I think the thing is with why it's so important, as I said, I know I feel overwhelmed if I haven't got anywhere to go to. And so carry on, David. Sorry.
No, well, absolutely. And there's the important thing is to understand human behavior. Okay. So as humans, we're driven, we have our smart brain, our part of the brain, which should generally control most things. But we've also got sort of at the back of our brain, our lizard brain. And the lizard brain is the thing that generally it's interested in safety, food, and sex. Let's be honest, without trying to, but it's part of who we are. But the issue is from a motivational point of view, by not setting a goal and actually trying to aim towards something, first off, you'll never know if you achieve it. You'll never know if you've made steps towards it. And people often forget the importance of those steps forward. So many people I've worked with have these big, huge goals. I once had a client who literally was like, I want to be taller. I want to have a perfect body, a perfect partner, a perfect job. And then I'll be happy. And it was like, well, that's pretty big. That's a lot, and
to be taller.
I know.
I'm all about setting goals that, you set your deepest, darkest kind of desires of goals. But I think even that one is a bit of a stretch. No pun intended there.
But absolutely. But again, this is the importance of this is people often do this. They set goals that are very unrealistic. Now, that's not saying don't aim for your dreams. Absolutely, you should push yourself and challenge yourself, and certainly do more than you did yesterday. Always try to aim. So, where's my next step? Where am I moving forward? What's my progress here? Okay, but the issue is that people often very much narrow down their views towards a very short-term goal. What am I doing next week? What am I doing, today? My calendar, because I have degrees of OCD, I know what's happening in my calendar the next 6 to 8 weeks. I have client things booked in, I have one-to-ones, I have meetings, everything's booked in, ready, and I know what's going on. But it's just it. Okay, this sums it up quite well. You will never know what you don't know, and if you don't know what you don't know, you can't change what you don't know. If that makes sense for everyone.
I think it does. Yes.
So I'll summarize it. So basically, the idea is, if you aren't setting yourself a goal and actually working out where you want to get to, you're never going to be able to work out if you've succeeded or failed. Okay. Right. And it's really important to realize that actually, and this is a big mindset shift here, is that failure is not the enemy here. Failure is not bad. Okay. Right. And I say this to everyone, and I'm very upfront about it. Making mistakes and getting things wrong is the best thing you'll ever do in your life. Absolutely. Okay. If I was to actually put all the things I've done wrong in my life into a book, probably be the size of War and Peace, and I could probably beat someone unconscious with it because it's that big, right? But all these mistakes, where is my mindset when you look back at the man I used to be 10 years ago, you know, the 32-stone man, the unemployed man, the gaming addict doing nothing with his life. My mindset was quite negative. I was just like, oh, well, I'm never going to do anything. I'm no good. I'm not going to get anywhere. But my mindset's totally, you know, it's more than like, you know, it's like totally shifted. It's absolutely what, you know, and now it's this positive, right, I've done something wrong. What can I do forward? What, you know, okay, so I got that wrong, right? How did I get it wrong? What did I do? Okay, so that was where I wanted to be because that was my goal here. I set it over here. Well, I've misaligned it there. That's not worked. So how do I shift it? Yeah. And it is just this understanding that you're not always going to achieve all your dreams and goals. And that's kind of hard because I think people sometimes, you know, I've certainly spoken with a lot of life coaches that think as coaches, we should always be absolutely positive all the time. But I think human nature shows that actually generally we have what's known as a negative cognitive bias. I don't want to obviously use those words, but the idea is, I'm going to give you a perfect example, right, to be mindful of. So have all of you ever actually bought from Amazon before? I know you sell on Amazon, but you must have all bought from Amazon. Yeah?
Well, I famously don't really buy that much off of Amazon because I think it's a rip-off.
Yeah, and we know that. So we it, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Because all the stuff I buy from Amazon, I mean, Matt buys loads. I have an Amazon package every day. We know our Amazon driver, know his name, you know where he lives, know his kids, you know, that type of thing. So Matt always buys off Amazon, but the stuff I buy, I would never buy on Amazon. But anyway, sorry.
No, but you're right. But the thing is, I think, you know, we are aware of it, but we all generally people will buy from Amazon at least once it's a season.
Yeah, but absolutely.
What I want you guys to think about when you last bought from Amazon, and if you did look at the reviews, which you probably did, it's very common. What reviews were you looking for? Negative. Straight away. Every time. Mm-hmm. Always. We always look for the negative because we're trying to find the faults, we're trying to find the problems, we're trying to find the issues. And actually, that's coming back to our lizard brain. That's our natural survival instinct kicking in. Well, if I buy this gadget, or, you know, this is for the fan behind me, and it's no good, and I waste my money, I'm, you know what I mean? There's that lizard upset, you know, brain there. But actually, it's trying to. We can actually shift the negative mindset and go to a more positive mindset if we actually are setting ourselves goals, moving ourself forward, and recognizing how we're feeling about when things go wrong. Because like guys have been talking about the IP scores, it's really stressed them out. It's really been upsetting. Yeah. But actually, even as business owners, we have emotions, we have feelings. We need to be thinking a bit about it and actually how we process it. I realise I've gone on a bit of a rant. No.
I was sorry. I wasn't laughing at you. I was just, John's comment just made me laugh. Then he said his goal is back. Yeah, absolutely, and that is a great goal to set. And I think, you know, I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to like read all of them in specifically, but the general consensus here for the question that we asked earlier is no. People are not setting those goals. So it's super, super important. Without goals, you feel overwhelmed. As David said, we naturally, as humans, we look for the negative. We always do. It's what we're conditioned to do. By setting goals, and I'm not going to try and say what David said about you don't know what you know until you know it, because I can't remember exactly. And I think Alex even said, I know what I don't know. I could never know what I don't know or something. So this is something that's going to be yours. But it's super, super important to be able to set these goals, not only really because just to be taking a step closer, but I think it's also to be able to look at them, not only to see improvement, to see what you're doing, because once you get that step closer, and if you do it correctly, your goal setting will be reverse engineering. And, you're not going to get to your £5 million house overnight. It's going to take several steps to be able to get to that point. Absolutely. So, and it's breaking them down into more manageable steps, ticking those off along the way, and kind of looking back at your previous self. And I personally see it as long as you're making daily improvements, no matter how small they are, then that's where, that all kind of links in with the goals. But hopefully, because we discussed this earlier. So, you said that you were going to put together a little something to show us how to set a goal specifically for Q4.
Yeah. So what I would, for Q4, it depends if it's your first Q4 or if it's your second Q4. Okay. If it's your first Q4, I would certainly be strap in for a ride, to be honest, because it is a hell of a ride. What I would suggest for if it's your first time selling in Q4, your main goal for this first Q4 is to learn. Absolutely. As much as sales are important as they are, your main focus for this first Q4 is to really be mindful and learn every single thing about the process. Learn what's the patterns, learn what items are selling well, learn from how there's cut-off periods where you can't put stock in. You need to learn that takes time, because obviously you need to be planning for that as well.
Yeah.
Because you can get caught out, if you've suddenly bought, 300, 500 pounds worth of stock and you've bought it literally, 3 days before the cut-off period before Amazon will let you go in, you're not going to get it in time at all, and then you're going to be stuck with it. I'd also look if it's your first time for Q4, I would certainly also be thinking about learning the deals. This is so important. Learning for the next 4 months, what are where are the deals coming from? Because there are set deals, okay, and it's one of those things you've got to learn in the pot, right? You just got to learn as you go, okay. Right. If it's your second Q4, if you've done this before, or if it's your third or fourth, you've done it before, what I would do is I would be looking back at what your previous Q4 was. Okay, you need to reflect what your previous sales were. Okay, now we all know, and if you know what your previous sales are, you need to be setting yourself a goal of how much you want to increase that by. Okay, what's a reasonable? 10% is a commonly used raise. I want to raise it up by 10%. So, for example, I don't mind sharing. We did 20 last year. Our Q4 was 26k in sales for Q4, which it's not amazing. It's not super like a lot of sellers. We're not a huge seller, but it's not bad. That's exactly as we're happy with. So I might be looking at 10% more. So I want to increase, I want to put that up a little bit. I could aim for more, but it's about being realistic, because one of the things that's really important when you're setting yourself these goals for Q4 is you need to factor in, say your averaging ROI is 30%. Then that if you buy an item at £10 stock, you're going to earn £3.50 roughly. Obviously, it doesn't matter. So then if you want to earn £350, that you need to buy 100. Do you know what I mean? And you can engineer essentially how much stock you need to buy. Okay, and obviously, again, it comes into that mindset of planning. Maybe what I would be considering is planning how much each month or even each week you could break down. How much do I need to spend? If I want to aim for 35k sales in Q4, I know engineering it based on my average ROI that this is how much I need. This is how much in sales and stock I need to buy. You can actually break that down and give yourself targets. But I would certainly suggest that you're mindful of the fact that deals do shift, and you know what it's like, Natalie. Sometimes you've had you talked about it before, where you've had deals, you've been sitting down, you've had your deal sourcing sessions, and you've had sessions which have been like amazing. You spent thousands and thousands of pounds, and there's other deal sessions where you basically wanted to pull your hair out because I find a great deal. Oh, it's great, not in stock.
Yeah.
I go through all the process. There's a code that works. Code doesn't work. Right, it happens. But I think it's really important that you really think about what you want to aim for. And again, it's looking at the bigger picture. Okay. I know there's a lot of Q4, a lot of Amazon sellers that actually they mainly sell on Q4 and they don't really think about, the longer year. So for mine and Richard, it's an all year thing. We don't. And I think
very consistent in your sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, it has to. For us, it's about matching one of our goals, which is that it is a business that, it doesn't take up all our life, because I run other businesses, we do other thing. And again, it comes back to the bigger picture, bigger goal. Like, I don't know if you said, I think you might have said it before we went live, but this idea that it's really important we have multiple streams of income. As some of you have found, actually, we know of people, and we've been in this boat to a degree, in some cases, is when you put all your eggs in one basket and that basket is taken away from you by Amazon, trodden on, kicked across the floor. Sorry, that's a good way to describe it.
No, it's absolutely true, 100%.
Yeah, but the idea is always be thinking about what's the bigger picture here. I know some of you, I think someone did comment that for them, I think it was Luke Roberts said, certainly should make smaller sub goals. Long-term goal really is to replace my 9 to 5 Amazon. Short-term goal is to earn £500 a month profit, so I can quit my job. Yeah, absolutely. But that's why that longer-term goal of what you're trying to do here, and what you're trying to get from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think really, I found, we've been doing this for, Richard, how long have we been doing this now? It's about 3 years now, isn't it? My mind's just about 3-4 years now. Every Q4 is a learning curve. I think we found things just change every time, certainly with Amazon and the sales. And I know we're going to have a good Q4 this year, but I do wonder how it's going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know who said it. Oh, it's Chris that said this Q4 is going to be, double at the very least. I would be inclined to agree with that, because obviously we do know that this Q4 is probably going to be very different to the Q4s that have kind of gone before it. And I know you said about, kind of setting goals. So what I wanted to ask you about was, when you set goals, so say, for instance, you said that when you set your goals, you want to just see an improvement. So you just want to see like a 10% improvement, because you want to be constantly just keep going, just keep building consistently. Yeah. So when you set those goals, will it depend on your personality? Because I know some people would prefer to set a goal where they're like, I want to do 100 grand. I want to go big or go home. Now, the way I've always understand it is when you set that goal, because I know goals should be realistic. I know that's definitely part of the process. Mm-hmm. But is there a difference between, will it come down to the just keep swimming? That's exactly what I was going to say. Just keep swimming, because I've said that before. But is there a difference between, is it damaging to set a goal that, providing you have a certain type of personality, that it's to over strive for, I don't know. Whereas if I was set 100 grand, say, for instance, in my mind, when I set it now, I think I can really do it. Mm-hmm. But if I don't hit that goal, is it more damaging to me that I haven't hit that goal, if that makes sense? And I think personally, that comes down to your type of personality, because then personally, if I set a goal that I didn't achieve, it would make me work harder in the next month to, you know, kind of make it up, if that makes sense. Whereas I understand with some people, it might demotivate them. So does that come down to individual personality, you think?
Absolutely right, because people all deal with. Oh, it depends how you are as a person, how you deal with failure and how you deal with getting things wrong and not achieving things. So, personally, I'm a box ticking. You know, I like to tick boxes. I like to set myself lists. I like to work out, you know, this is exactly what I want to do. This is, you know, all this stuff, and I like to see the progress. I'm not so much for the big impact. I'm much more focused on the smaller impact, which, you know, it is, and everyone's different like this. So there is always that risk, and you need to analyze. You need to understand yourself a bit. You need to understand how you are, and the only way you can do that is look back in your past and look at how you have reacted in the past when you've set yourself goals and whether you've succeeded or not. So if you're the type of person, say for example, right, this is the only example I can give, and this helps because I'm a weight loss coach as well. But if you're a person that say you want to lose 8 stone of weight, okay, that's what you set yourself, but you get 6 stone, but at the end you're like, well, it's no good. I've not achieved my goal, and it's just it's useless. I've not done what I wanted to do. From a mindset point of view, that's quite a bad place to be, because you aren't then recognizing the 6 stone that was lost. Okay?
Yeah, which is a massive achievement.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. If any, 6 stone is huge, right? That's life changing for most people if they had to lose around that type of weight. But the point is, again, it comes down to that negative cognitive bias. They're focusing on the negative. They're not focusing on the positives of what's been done. But I think people are unique and people are motivated by different things. And there are people that are motivated by this big goal. So I know, for example, Emily's in the chat. I know because we've met Emily a couple of times. She's lovely. She's an amazing character and exceptionally knowledgeable and experienced. But Emily, she set a really big goal. She's like, right, I'm smashing this out of this bloody park, Dave, and this is where I want to be. But I know for her mindset that I know that will work for her, because that's how she has always been. Okay, but not everyone is going to be like that. That's the point. Not everyone is going to be in that position, and it's trying to be careful about how we are. So I can never remember the terminology. I can remember one of them, and I can never remember the other one. So there actually is generally people are two types. They're either and I can remember the name of the other one. So one, they're either hedonistic, which I'll explain because it sounds weird already. So the hedonistic type of people, they're the ones that want instant gratification. Right. Yeah. Well, I want instant gratification. I get my pleasure and I get my enjoyment and I get my buzz and my motivation by just, that's what I'm doing, done it, go, bang, keep, next one, right, next one, go, yeah, got it, yeah. They're the ones that are likely to be jumping out of the aeroplanes, okay? Not me, okay? So you can guess. I can't, and this is frustrating because I can never remember the name of the other one, but the other type of person, they're the ones, they're not about instant gratification. They get their feel, their sort of pleasure by setting themselves a goal and setting where they want to be and then achieving it.
Right. Okay.
And then they'll move on to the next one. And then they'll move on to the next one. And then they'll move on to, do you see where it's going?
Yeah.
Neither, and the point is, obviously, most people, when you think of the term hedonistic, we think it's quite a negative thing. It's normally seen as a bad thing. Oh, you're a bit hedonistic, you know, enjoying yourself. But the point is, neither are right or wrong. But you need to understand how you are as a person, how you actually you gain from it. Because if you are setting yourself that really huge goal, I want to double my sales. I want to get 100K. I want to be getting that 5-digit house, in 2 years and all that sort of stuff. If your mindset is not about that sort of longer term goal and you're actually more the short term, you need that short term fix to keep your motivation going. Because the interesting thing about motivation and actually what drives you is that people's thoughts around motivation is wrong. I actually personally think motivation is broken in how we view it. So I'll give you an example. People say stuff like, I'll do that when I get motivated.
Yeah.
which is stupid because it just doesn't work like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not motivated. It isn't like, you know, I'm going to suddenly randomly motivate myself and get on with that and do a sourcing. You're going to sit down for 3 hours and source deals, right? What has to come first every time is your action. You actually need to just do, okay? Because again, most human beings are motivated by progress, okay? It's very rare for someone not to be motivated by some form of progress, okay? Yeah. I know today that I had a couple of things that were on my list that needed to get done. They had to get put back. I've achieved them today. I've got exactly done what I needed to do. I've had a really great day with all the long list of things that I wanted to get done. So I'm like literally I'm buzzing. I'm like, hey, you know.
It's amazing when you get that list done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And part of daily list building is daily goals, essentially, as well. You're setting yourselves, you know, that links, and we weren't specifically talking about it, but it's super important to make sure that you write a list, because if you think about it, providing you've successfully tracked back, you know, your reverse engineered your deepest, darkest desire of goal, at some point those little daily goals will be helping to build towards your overall big picture. And the other thing, you had already said it, David, but I wanted to absolutely add it here. Not everybody's deepest, darkest desires are the same. So, you know, mine might be, I want to live in a £5 million house. Yours might be, okay, I just want to earn enough money to be able to, you know, work for myself. Someone else's might be, okay, I want this car. I mean, they're probably going to be bigger than that, but when you actually really do break it down, the biggest, deepest you know, parts of our goals that we set for ourselves, I think personally generally come down to health. You know, people really, you know, when you really break it down, and happiness, that's what they generally come down to. And it's once you kind of, you know, think about celebrities, right? And I think this is a really good example. Generally, when people talk to celebrities, and you see this reoccurring often, is a lot of celebrities end up falling into addiction and things like that, because once they achieve their wildest dreams, once they've bought everything that they can possibly imagine, they've achieved this absolute level of fame and fortune and everything like that, they actually realize that it wasn't their deepest, darkest goal, and they're feeling pretty unfulfilled when they've got to that point, because they haven't really dived down deep into their soul and find out what is their biggest goal. And that's why a lot of them end up falling into, I suppose, this hedonistic lifestyle, but looking at it from that point of view, in addiction, and then they have to hit their rock bottom before they can actually find out what their true goal is and build themselves back up again. That's a cycle that you see in the world of celebrity over and over again. I'm sure everyone can think of the example of someone famous that they've seen that happen. Sometimes, unfortunately, it doesn't work out so well for the celebrity. They end up losing their life if it's addiction and that type of thing. But it's very, very similar. It's very similar in how we set our goals to ourselves. So I think it's really, really important to sit down and really dedicate some time to find out really and truly what that overall true goal is that you really want to achieve, then track back from that point, and then set those daily tasks, set those weekly tasks. As David's quite rightly suggested, you know, if it's a financial, monetary goal to do with your Amazon business, if you've already been through the process, have a look at what you did last year, break it down. You need to get X amount of sales to do this. If you buy X amount of this to do that. You don't have to be a mathematician to work this out. You know, you don't have to be mathematically gifted in order to be able to do it. It's just a case of looking back and seeing what has been before. And if it's your first Q4, as David is quite rightly again, your main goal should be to learn, to really kind of, you know, soak up all the experience. Go into Secret Wealth Project as much as possible. Watch as many, never mind the buy boxes, as you can during the Q4 period, because it's what we're going to be talking about, you know, loads over the next few weeks about how patterns emerge in Q4, talking about different deal cycles, all these different types of things. And some of the most successful sellers will already know in their mind before they go into Q4 when they need to buy, what they need to buy, at what price they need to buy it, when they need to sell it, on all these different areas. So it's really about absorbing knowledge. So thank you so much for going through that, David. I think, that's really hopefully enlightened, a bit more of goal setting for people. And it's something that we will always talk about here on Nevermind the Buy Box. So Sue says definitely the daily list of goals. Absolutely. But remember to have that kind of end destination in place. So Hams says, have you seen a reduction in sales in your business in the last week? I can't say I've seen a reduction. I can't say I've seen an increase, to be perfectly honest. It's been pretty kind of okay. Traditionally, August is going to be one of the quieter months of the year. And I do think there has really been an impact on kind of price tanking with everyone taking into account the IP. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, people, I think we all went a little bit temporarily insane with Amazon, and we all thought, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and hopefully we're going to be back on track for doing for those prices with everyone being a little bit more sensible. But the most important bottom line is don't follow the crowd, don't follow them down. Think about it. Sales velocity is going to increase dramatically over the coming weeks. So it's super important to make sure that you do not follow the crowd down, because a price might take ordinarily outside of Q4 3 months to recover. You could see, if it's a popular item in a popular category that's going to sell well in Q4, you could see that price recover incredibly quickly. I've seen an amazing example, which I'm going to do a YouTube video about, of a specific product about price recovery, which, I do talk about it quite often. I understand it's not for everybody. Not everybody sits and waits on stock. You have some people that prefer the lower margin, the compounding effect of how many times they can flip their money over. I know it's not that, but I do like to show you guys some instances of what can pay off, and what I'm recognizing when is a good time to be able to sell a product or not sell a product. Right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about very briefly this evening, well, not briefly, we've gone over an hour, but we can run over a little bit. It's fine. If you don't mind, David.
Yeah.
Is and I always like to really, if I can, bring up something that people are specifically talking about, or I feel it's hot on people's minds, and it kind of links in, I thought, nicely with what David's spoken about, because it is pretty linked, and that is this kind of FOMO thing, which is obviously generally we term it as fear of missing out. For those of you that don't know what FOMO is, that's what it's. So it's looking at something or looking at someone, seeing what they're doing, and you making kind of irrational decisions because you don't want to miss out. You don't want to, you want what they've got, kind of thing, and you want to experience what they've got. And it might not be the right term, but it's what I call it essentially. And this week in particular, I see it in groups. I see it in the messages I receive off of people. I talk to a lot of sellers every week. And one of the things at this time of the year, bearing in mind, we've already spoken about the fact that it's quieter time of the year, IPI nightmare, and also a lot long-term storage fees. So we see people that are posting screenshots of maybe they're in a different place to us, and people are kind of getting disappointed with their own results because they're looking at someone else's results and they're sort of saying, okay, well, why aren't I achieving that? Why aren't I doing this? Or why aren't I doing that? That person's achieving that. So I wanted to kind of bring that up because it's one of my pet hates, essentially, when I see people doing that. And for anyone that's contacted, I don't mean pet hates as in, oh, don't talk to me about it. I want to talk to you guys about it because I think it's super, super important. And one of the things why I say it's my pet hate is because I hate see people do it, because there are so many elements of why it shouldn't even impact your life unless you're going to be able to look at it from a motivational and a positive frame of mind. So what I mean by that is we live very much in a world of, like David said, instant gratification and having all of these different things. And especially with social media now has a huge impact on how we feel in ourselves, As humans, it is human nature for us to complain, to compare, to judge, and to be perfectly honest, if you take all of those, that's human nature anyway. But then to add that on Facebook or social media and see everybody posting figures or living their best life or whatever, because you've really got to think about it in terms of, social media. Yes, we have people that, I like to think I live quite realistically on social media. I don't show just the good bits. I show some of the bad bits as well. But the majority of people want to live their best life on social media. So first of all, you need to look at it and realize that it is slightly unrealistic. Now, if you are the type of person that looks at someone else's figures, unless it motivates you, because there are really two elements here, and the type of person that you are and the type of person now, it's not saying you won't become this type of person in the future. But if you are the type of person that doesn't see somebody posting figures as motivational, you kind of need to remove yourself from that situation. And it sounds really harsh, and I mean remove yourself until you can deal with it a little better. Not deal with it a little better, but it allows you as to see from an aspirational point of view. And you can 100% do that, because you can change your mindset. We can change our thoughts, but it takes a bit of work to be able to do it. And you have to focus on the positive. You have to know that it is possible. Now, when you're looking at other people's screenshots and figures, things you can't take into account, you cannot know all the possible circumstances at where that person is in their life. They may have been doing it for years. Even if they've not been doing it for years, they might have started with a very different budget to you. They might have outsourced everything. They might, have a wholesaler that their uncle that their uncle owns, and therefore they've got different kind of access to certain types of products. Now, I'm not saying that's always the case, like, oh, give yourself excuses. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is you can't judge someone else and compare until you know all of the details absolutely exactly. And therefore, if it doesn't motivate you, you need to remove yourself. So you kind of need to almost like unfollow that person if they're having that negative impact on your life. And it can be really, really demoralizing to do this. And it's really important not to be wrapped up in the successes of someone else's success, unless it's going to have like a positive impact. Because what happens when you get wrapped up in someone else's success from a negative point of view, you miss your opportunities. You fail to spot the opportunities that could be being presented to you. And that's, I think, really important to be able to recognize that. So like I said, if you find yourself in that position and you aren't able to look at it from a positive point of view, okay, this really motivates me. Personally, I'm the type of person, if I'm not achieving something that I want to achieve, it really fuels me to look at someone else and think, well, they've done it, I can do it too. There's absolutely no reason why I can't do that. So therefore, I'm going to work a bit harder to get that. And it's not saying guys are not working hard. That's not what I mean. It's just a case of recognizing what's going to motivate you and what isn't going to motivate you. And there's no point saying, there's no point saying, oh, they don't deserve it, or because you don't know any of the circumstances. If you're always looking out for people that are doing better than you, you will always find those people as well. There is abundance of people that you can compare yourself to. So it's not a case of, oh, it's just such and such, or this, or do that. I think it's more important to be obsessed with your own growth, your own successes, than someone else's, essentially. That's my kind of 2 cents, on the matter. And I think if you feel, that envy or looking at something else, they're all massively really strong emotions that I think can be flipped and they can be turned into the positive. And as I said to you earlier, David, and we've already discussed this, is that knowing that as long as you are improving daily, knowing that you are heading more towards those goals, knowing that you are gradually getting there, just keep swimming, then it's something that it's going to have massive improvement on your life, on your mindset, on the way that you think at things, or the way that you look at things. Because you're always going to come across the naysayers in life. You know, those are the toxic people that says, you can't do this, you can't do that. And, you know, let them be the people that judge, or the people that compare, you know, because they're not going to achieve what you can achieve if you have this kind of change in mindset. And what I just wanted to say to you is that make the decision from today that you're no longer going to feel the pain of comparing someone else's progress to yourself. If you can't deal with it, like I said, if you get that element of FOMO, take action. Don't look at them. Wish them success in your mind, obviously, but concentrate on your own journey. You know, it's something that, and that can be done by counting your blessings and, you know, every day for what you are achieving, setting those small steps, setting those goals and achieving them. And that's kind of my 2 cents now. I don't know if you want to add anything else, David.
Yeah. So
I went on a little bit of a rant then. Sorry.
No, but it's an important. This stuff is so important, and it happens all the time. Okay, so actually in psychology, because obviously I am trained in counselling theory, it's actually known as compare and despair, where you're comparing yourself to other people and you despair. It's a really negative place to be. And again, as people said in the comments, there are some people, Emily's hugely inspired by seeing it.
Absolutely.
You know, and others aren't, you know, but it's, the point is there, and this is I'm going to say something which sounds really blunt, but it's a simple fact. And it's one of those things you need to come to accept. There is going to be someone out there that's doing what you're doing better every time. It's always going to be someone out there that's doing everything you're doing. They're doing it better than you, right? You might think that sounds really horrible, but actually what we're looking for here is if someone is doing something better than you, it's not to look at them envious. Look at what they're doing. Maybe approach them, ask them, what are they doing? You know, learn from them, emulate them, you know, understand, you know, try to get into their mindset. But I'm gonna. So there's actually there's a Canadian psychologist that I really like. I forgot his name's gone off my off. My brain's gone. I've had the brain fart.
You can post it in the comments afterwards.
Yeah,
don't worry.
I'll try to find it later. He's a Canadian psychologist, but basically, when he talks about sort of how we compare ourselves, right? I'm going to try and sum it up for you. Okay, so if I was to compare myself to you, Natalie. Let's try to see. So, for starters, we're not the same gender.
Nope.
We're not the same age.
Nope.
Born in the same place.
I'm clearly 21.
Yeah, I'm not 21. Yeah. But we weren't born in the same place.
I assume not. No.
No, not the same.
London.
Yeah. Kent. You know.
Yeah. No. So we're not born there.
Same parents.
Nope.
Same siblings?
Nope.
Thank you, Jordan. Jordan Peterson. Thank you. Terry's got it. Here's Jordan Peterson. Right. So, did we go to the same school?
Nope.
Same friends at school?
Nope.
Same education?
Nope.
Same experiences?
No. Impossible. Impossible.
Yeah. So, if I was to compare myself to you, how fair is that? In any sense of the word, when you think of all those different things that have possibly happened,
and not just that, I think as well, and even if you didn't take all those prior comparisons into account as well, very now things are obviously I have children, some people don't.
Yeah.
You know, all of these different kind of aspects. So, you know, generally people who, you know, have more time that don't have children, not always, absolutely not. I don't want to say that, you know, just because you're a mum or you're a dad or anything, you don't have, you know, people work all hours of the nights when they have families. Sometimes people work more than someone who does have kids, you know, obviously. But all of these different elements, we have different goals, you know, at this point as well. There's so many different things that you really just can't compare yourself to anyone. And I think a lot of it really does come down to having this big end goal at the end of the day, because that's also different. So it's just impossible to compare yourself to anyone else.
There is one person you can compare yourself to. And this is Jordan Peterson. There's one person you can compare yourself to. There's only one person you can compare yourself to.
Oh, yes, I know what you're going to, well, I think I know what you're going to say, and you're absolutely right.
It's yourself yesterday.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because that's reasonable, okay? Because if I'm comparing myself to who I was yesterday, I'm comparing myself to the same, I had the same parents, I had the same childhood, all this sort of, that's fair. But the point is, it comes back to what we said before. What progress have I made today compared to yesterday? What have I done differently today? What have I learned from today? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What am I moving forward? Because it's all about that fair comparison. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. If you are not fueled by this and you're feeling this negativity when you're seeing other people posting, you're seeing other people sharing, and you're absolutely right now. Most people, when they share on social media, especially Facebook, they share mainly the positive things. It's very rare people post the negative things, the things that are going wrong in their life. There are people that do it, obviously. But the point is, we're seeing it all from a glazed perspective. And I'm going to give you, okay, there's a really interesting thing when you look at the bigger picture now, when we're comparing ourselves and actually thinking about our lives. I'm going to give you a perfect example. One of my clients once, he came to me. It was a business coaching thing, really. It's not really my thing. I'm more of the lifestyle and life coaching side. But he had a business issue, which I had to fix. And we fixed it in a couple of sessions. But there were things that he was saying that when I listened and I heard what he was saying, it was flagging up some concerns for me with his life, that, with his wife, with his kids, and his business was exceptionally successful, right? He was a website developer, and he had a team, and it was really successful. So from an external perspective, when we look at his life was amazing. He's got his own house. He's got a successful business. But there was a moment in the third session when I had to ask a question, which sounds really harsh, but it was a really important question that had to be asked. And I just sat there and looked at him and I said, who are you without your business? And he just sat there for about 2 minutes, just absolutely dead quiet. Just couldn't say anything. He just literally wouldn't speak. And he really he was really sort of looking, and he just looked back at me and he just went, I don't know. And that's really worrying. That's really, because again, from an outside perspective, if people compare and look at their lives to compare to him, they're thinking, well, he's doing well, he's got success, but actually he was him and his partner were arguing, they were having issues, they weren't getting along. He wasn't spending time doing what he loved. He wasn't happy, fulfilled, like you were describing of these celebrities. And I think it's really important that that your business is very important, and I know we're most of us, pretty much all Amazon sellers here, but it comes back to that drive of what really drives you as a person. So as an example, for me and Richard, we don't want to be millionaires. We're not money orientated, we're not money driven. In actual fact, we're quite frugal with money. We don't spend much, we don't buy the extravagant things. Okay, because that's not what we want. What we want is to enjoy life. We want to enjoy time with each other. We want to do for the things that, as you know, we went away to Bath, and it was a lovely weekend. We didn't have a fancy hotel. It was Premier Inn. What's the other really cheap?
Travelodge?
No, it wasn't Travelodge. I can't remember now. I can't remember.
I like Premier Inn. I think you know what you're getting with a Premier Inn. I quite like it.
And let's be honest. You know what I mean? We got there Friday, and then we went out, for a meal in the evening, and then Saturday we spent the whole day, literally from 9 o'clock in the morning to like 6 o'clock in the evening, walking around Bath, right, and visiting like the Roman baths. We didn't need to be in the hotel. We did, it doesn't matter.
No, I know what you mean. I get what you're saying. That you guys work to live, you don't live to work.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we work a lot. I mean, I do work because I run multiple businesses. With Amazon, the coaching, my network, and I also work for a sort of form of charity to a degree. But the point is, for me, it's about the fact that life is a bigger picture, and the biggest investment you guys will ever make in your business is you. Every step of the way, whether it is your health, your lifestyle, your happiness, anything like that, it's absolutely about that investment. Don't mind he's trying to sneak quite quietly. It's just not going to work.
No, he doesn't realise you're on camera, right?
It's a tenant.
I know it wasn't Richard. Yeah,
but no, it's fine. But no, there is a bigger picture here, absolutely. And
everyone's got to find out what that driving force in themselves. And as I said, you can't compare yourself to other people. It's just impossible. So unfollow. Get them out back again. Get them out of your system. If you can't see it as inspiration, if you can't see it, and that's not me telling anyone off. It's just understanding. Just work out which one you are, because otherwise you're just going to get even more frustrated. It's just going to eat away at you even more. And there will be a time. There will be a time if you follow these rules, not rules. If you set your goals, if you make those daily improvements, if you look back on your previous self and you say, do you know what? I'm a step further ahead than I was yesterday. I know one more thing than I knew yesterday. And if you compare yourself to that previous person, and as long as you're making gains and you're happy with those gains, that will develop more success. It's a proven fact. Invest in yourself, invest in your education. I would be, because I know Emily is a great reader. I know she's a great reader of lots of books. She recommended one. So I would 100% love Emily at some point to come on Never Mind the Bible, maybe to talk about all the books that she's read that have inspired her, because I know Emily's doing phenomenally well. So if you fancy doing it, reach out to me, Emily, because I'd love to have you on here, and that goes to anyone who wants to appear on here. It's always good fun. I talk a bit too much, but at the end of the day, you never have to worry about you running out of something to say, because I can say enough for everyone. That's fine. Let me just go back over. So I think a lot of people have appreciated this tonight. A lot of people have enjoyed it, I hope. It's something a little bit different. I do have David on regularly, and it's very generous of you to spend your evening with us, David, because this is your time. You don't get paid for it. I don't get paid for it. So thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. Vlad says he loves these psychological talks. I do as well. It's just something a little bit different. Emily says, make it your mission to seek out those achieving what you want to do, those who are more successful and knowledgeable, and learn from them. Absolutely. Salvatore says, funny, his partner's taking him to Bath this weekend as a birthday treat. I think we're all doing more staycations, definitely. And I think it was Terry. Was it a Holiday Inn?
I can't remember now. I want to find out now, because it's really bugging me.
Travelodge, Holiday Inn.
I think it was a Holiday Inn, actually.
That's the like green signage.
Yeah, it was Holiday Inn. A Holiday Inn Express. I know the breakfast was terrible.
I know. I do love staying in hotels, and you like staying in a hotel. It's definitely got having the breakfast is definitely one of the best parts about staying in the hotel, I reckon.
When it's good.
Well,
yeah.
It is me. But Janet says, great show tonight. Thanks, guys. Salvatore said, really enjoyed this. I'm really glad that you did. As I said, we always try and bring you something a little bit different if we can. So we've got some exciting kind of things coming up in the next few weeks. Matt and Karen are going to be on next week, actually, because Karen has got some interesting news and interesting developments to talk about some of her services. So we're going to have Karen on with Matt next week, double whammy. So those guys will be on next week. I don't know if it's just going to be them or if it's going to be me as well. I think sometimes when you go in, especially more than a couple of people, it can getting, start getting a bit crazy. So it will either be myself, Matt and Karen, or just Matt and Karen next week. Luke Duggan the week after, as ever, and then possibly another special guest that I've got lined up after that. I've been approached by an incredibly successful Amazon seller who has agreed to come on talking into the seven figures, someone that's going to share their experiences and their Amazon journey. So I'm very much looking forward to that one as well. Buybot Pro app when? Oh, I don't know. Karen's on next week.
7 p.m.
Karen's on next week. So we will have all the answers, but you guys, do you know what? Like I said, I know what it is with these guys. They want everything to be absolutely perfect, and they just want to make sure that they're delivering the best services for you guys. So, and they're perfectionists, so they want to make sure it's done. So be patient. It is coming soon. Nikkei says, thanks so much. Learned a lot today. RE goals and Q4. Someone said they were going to say express. Thanks, Nat and David. That was Anita. So, yeah, thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I think we will call it an evening. As I said, Matt and Karen next week, possibly with me as well. Who knows? But any questions, post in the Facebook group. Keep us updated, with everything. I know you guys are brilliant at posting and commenting and everything like that. But thank you once again, David. It's, as I said, very generous of you to spend your time with us. So we do very much appreciate it. But thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.